That hard, protruding belly you see in the mirror is not what most people think it is. It is not excess calories sitting under the skin. It is not a sign that you need to work out harder or eat less bread. What you are looking at is a metabolically active tissue, one that is embedded directly around your liver, your pancreas, and your intestines. It has its own blood supply. It releases its own chemical signals, and those signals are working against you right now, even as you read this. Visceral fat is biologically different from the soft fat on your arms or thighs. That fat is mostly passive. This fat is not. It continuously releases inflammatory compounds, cytokines like IL-6, that travel through your bloodstream and tell your cells to resist insulin, hold on to glucose, and store more fat in the abdomen. The harder you try to fight it with conventional methods, the more it digs in. And that is the part nobody explains. The biology of visceral fat is designed to protect itself. Understanding that is the first step to actually beating it. Here is the paradox that keeps millions of people stuck. They cut calories, they skip meals, they push through cardio sessions on an empty stomach, and the belly stays. Sometimes it gets worse. This is not a failure of willpower. This is a failure of strategy, because the approach is biologically backwards. When your body is already inflamed and already producing elevated cortisol, caloric restriction does not read as a weight loss effort. It reads as a threat. The body interprets food scarcity the same way it interprets physical danger, as a signal to conserve. And where does it conserve most aggressively? The abdomen. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, pulls sugar into the bloodstream for emergency fuel. Insulin then takes that sugar and deposits it directly into abdominal fat cells. This cycle runs on its own. Stress triggers cortisol. Cortisol spikes blood sugar. Insulin stores it in the belly. Restriction intensifies the stress, and the loop continues. You cannot break a hormonal loop with hunger. The only exit is to change the chemical environment inside the body, to send signals of safety, efficiency, and abundance rather than scarcity and danger. That is exactly what these 5 foods are designed to do. The first signal your body needs is an anti-inflammatory one. Here is why that matters mechanically. Visceral fat is not just storing energy. It is actively secreting inflammatory cytokines that make your cells resistant to insulin. As long as that inflammation is running, your fat cells are chemically locked. Insulin cannot do its job efficiently. Glucose stays in the bloodstream. The pancreas pumps out more insulin to compensate. And high circulating insulin is one of the most powerful fat storage signals in human biology. To break that lock, you need a specific class of molecules. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. The food source is fatty fish. Sardines, salmon, mackerel, anchovies. And the reason goes deeper than most people realize. Omega-3s from these foods directly stimulate the production of a hormone called adiponectin. In people with low visceral fat, adiponectin levels are high. In people with significant belly fat, adiponectin is critically low. When you raise it through consistent fatty fish intake, it travels to your muscles and liver and delivers a precise instruction. Burn fatty acids for fuel, not glucose. At the same time, the EPA and DHA physically incorporate into your cell membranes, making them more fluid and more receptive to insulin. The protocol is 3 to 4 servings per week at minimum, or a smaller portion daily for best results. This is not about protein. It is about restructuring the chemistry of your cells from the membrane inward. Even if you lower inflammation successfully, there is a second barrier that most people never address. Think of your liver as the exit door for visceral fat. Every fatty acid that gets mobilized from your abdominal tissue has to pass through the liver to be processed and burned. But here is the problem. A significant portion of people with visceral fat also have a congested liver, a condition called steatosis, where the liver itself has accumulated fat. When the exit door is clogged, mobilized fat has nowhere to go. The detox pathway is blocked, and the fat gets redeposited. To clear that pathway, you need a sulfur-based compound called sulforaphane. The food source is cruciferous vegetables, specifically broccoli sprouts, arugula, and kale. Sulforaphane activates something called the NRF2 switch, the master regulator of your liver's antioxidant and detoxification defense system. When NRF2 is turned on, the liver ramps up its phase 2 detoxification enzymes. These enzymes strip excess fat and toxins from liver cells and prepare them for export. The exit door reopens. But cruciferous vegetables carry a second benefit that is rarely discussed. They contain a compound called DIM, diindolylmethane, which helps the liver metabolize and clear excess estrogen. This matters because certain estrogen metabolites send a direct hormonal signal to the body to store fat in the midsection and hips. By clearing those metabolites through the liver, you are not just detoxing. You are removing a hidden hormonal instruction that has been quietly driving fat storage. Clean the liver, and the chemistry can finally move in the right direction. Here is where most protocols fall apart. You can lower inflammation. You can open the liver's detox pathway. But if your nervous system is still running in survival mode, your body will simply refill those fat stores as fast as you empty them. This is the cortisol trap, and it is far more common than most people recognize. Cortisol is not just a stress hormone, it is the primary architect of the hard belly. It exists on a feedback loop with your adrenal glands, and when that loop gets stuck in the on position, cortisol trickles into your system continuously. Not just during stressful moments, but around the clock, during sleep, during meals, during rest. And as long as cortisol is elevated, your body interprets its own internal environment as a state of emergency, which means fat storage in the abdomen remains the biological priority. The mineral that controls this loop is magnesium. Magnesium binds directly to GABA receptors in the brain. GABA is the nervous system's primary brake pedal, the neurotransmitter responsible for calm, for slowing the stress response, for allowing the body to shift out of fight or flight. Without sufficient magnesium, that brake pedal loses pressure. The adrenal glands keep firing, cortisol keeps rising, and the belly holds. The food source is pumpkin seeds, one of the most concentrated natural sources of magnesium available in whole food form. A quarter cup provides enough magnesium to begin restoring GABA receptor function and physically dampen the adrenal response. This is not a relaxation strategy. This is a mineral correction that changes the hormonal output of your nervous system. And without it, every other step in this protocol gets quietly undermined by a stress loop running in the background. So inflammation is down, the liver pathway is open, the cortisol loop is quieting. But there is still one mechanism that can undo all of it before it gains traction, and it happens 3 times a day, at every meal. Blood sugar spikes. Every time you eat carbohydrates without a structural defense in place, glucose floods into the bloodstream rapidly. The pancreas responds by releasing a surge of insulin. And that insulin surge does not just clear the glucose, it sends a simultaneous signal to your fat cells to lock down and store. This is why 2 people can eat the same meal and have completely different metabolic outcomes. The speed of glucose absorption determines the insulin response, and the insulin response determines whether your body is in fat-burning mode or fat-storing mode. The food that builds that structural defense is chia seeds or ground flax seeds. When these seeds contact water in your stomach, they expand and form a thick, viscous gel. That gel coats the lining of your small intestine and acts as a physical barrier between the food you eat and your bloodstream. Glucose has to fight through that gel to be absorbed. The result is a dramatically flattened glucose curve, the same carbohydrates producing a fraction of the insulin response. But the mechanism does not stop there. When this fiber travels to your colon, your gut bacteria ferment it and produce short-chain fatty acids, specifically butyrate. Butyrate is a signaling molecule with a remarkably broad reach. It travels to the brain and triggers satiety signals that tell you to stop eating. It travels to the liver and improves insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. It reaches your mitochondria and increases their efficiency. 2 tablespoons of chia or flax per day, in water, in yogurt, alongside any meal, is your structural insurance policy against the insulin spikes that keep visceral fat chemically locked in place. Every step so far has been about removing obstacles, lowering inflammation, clearing the liver, quieting cortisol, flattening blood sugar. This final food does something different. It accelerates the process from the inside by fixing a cellular pump that most people never know is broken. The food is avocado. And before you dismiss it as simply a source of healthy fat, understand what is actually happening biochemically when you eat it. The first mechanism is potassium. Most people are critically deficient in potassium because modern diets are overwhelmingly plant-poor. And potassium deficiency has a direct and measurable consequence for visceral fat. It impairs the ability of your cells to pull glucose out of the bloodstream efficiently. When cells cannot absorb glucose on their own, the pancreas compensates by producing more insulin. More insulin means more fat storage, more inflammation, and a deeper lock on abdominal tissue. An avocado contains more potassium than a banana, without the blood sugar spike that comes with it. Half an avocado daily begins correcting that cellular pump, reducing the insulin load your pancreas has to generate just to move glucose into your cells. But the second mechanism is where avocado becomes genuinely remarkable. Its primary fat, oleic acid, triggers the release of a hormone in your small intestine called OEA, oleoolethanolamide. OEA sends a direct, hardwired signal to the brain to stop eating and to increase fat oxidation. It activates the same metabolic pathway your body enters during a 16-hour fast, the shift from glucose dependence to fat burning, without you skipping a single meal. You are not mimicking fasting through restriction. You are triggering the fat-burning signal through a specific molecular input. This is the difference between dieting and signaling. And when you stack all 5 of these foods together, fatty fish for adiponectin, cruciferous vegetables for liver detox, pumpkin seeds for cortisol control, chia or flax for the glucose barrier, and avocado for potassium and OEA, you are not eating a meal. You are running a biochemical intervention. A fillet of salmon on a bed of arugula and broccoli sprouts, sprinkled with pumpkin seeds, dressed with chia seeds, and served with half an avocado. Every component of that plate is sending a specific signal to a specific system. Inflammation down, detox pathway open, nervous system calm, glucose absorption controlled, fat oxidation activated. Visceral fat is not a character flaw. It is not the result of laziness or poor discipline. It is a symptom of a body that is inflamed, hormonally disrupted, and metabolically stressed. You cannot fight that biology with willpower alone, but you can change it with the right chemical inputs, consistently, every day. Stop subtracting food. Start adding the right signals. Your body already knows how to burn this fat. It just needs the right instructions to begin.